All right, let's face it, we get to ride our bikes all over the globe and have a great time on them. Everything from riding trails to bike paths to bike lanes out on the road, they're all out there to keep us safe and having a great time. But what sometimes we kind of forget is that a lot of this is due in part to the due diligence and the hard work from so many different charitable organizations all across the globe that ensure that we have wonderful trails, we have sick bike lanes that are out there to keep us away from the cars, and awesome bike paths that offer the coolest views and keep you from one area to another, away from all the traffic, and just keep things safe. So whether you're out there riding with your family, having a great time, enjoying the laughs, or you're out there with your friends on the trail yelling "you" and everything else, let's just do our part to give thanks and be grateful for all the hard work that these charitable organizations do day in and day out to keep us riding our bikes, having a great time, and always keep pedaling. Now you may be wondering why we brought up these charities all over the place, from out on the bike trail to the bike path, etc. And these are charities that are near and dear to us here at Jenson USA. And we thought, what better way to go over, how these charities have been a part of us here at Jenson than to bring in our founder and CEO, Mike Cachat.
Hey Mark, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for being here.
Absolutely, love it.
Awesome. So maybe you could tell us a little bit about, how you started with Jenson and how these charities have been, a big part of here at the company.
Well, I started, as you know, Jenson in my garage when I was 16 as a way to pay for my racing. And as I was going along with the business and kind of got sucked into the whirlwind of running the business, I really wasn't thinking much about giving back to the community. So maybe, 2004, I think I was 25 at the time. I was on a trip to QBP, one of the largest distributors in the bike industry, and the leaders there pulled me aside and, said, "Hey Mike, what are you doing to give back to the sport that's given so much to you?"
Absolutely.
And that had a really meaningful impact. And, the way that they explained it was, we need to grow the pie.
Yeah.
And that's good for not only Jenson, but it's good for the participants. It's good for all the bike shops and, all the vendor partners that Jenson and QBP works with. And so that really stuck with me. And so from that point on, I wanted to partner and help grow the pie, if you will,
Absolutely.
For everybody in the industry.
Yeah. So I know we talked about a little bit of, in the beginning of the video, I mentioned a few of the different charities and how they relate to the current cycling industry, everything from IMBA to, Kommute for Kids. Maybe you can give us a little bit of rundown on some of these, charities and, how they've been a part of Jenson over the years.
Absolutely. So when QBP pulled me aside, the charity that they actually started was People for Bikes, and it wasn't that. It was, I think, Bikes Belong, and it's now turned into People for Bikes. And so I started contributing to People for Bikes, and they really help fight for trail access. They work with various grants that the government offers. In fact, I think over the time they've been around $750 million worth of grants have been issued through their efforts.
That's amazing.
And so they're building trails, they're fighting in Congress for access and different funds and various laws to help support cycling. So that was the first charity. We still participate and donate to People for Bikes. They're a great organization and doing way more than I just described.
Yeah.
And then from there, my big passion has always been mountain biking. And I found myself on the board of directors of the International Mountain Bicycling Association, also known as IMBA.
Yeah.
As a way to give back and kind of more or less, boots on the ground, how can I really get in and dig in, literally sometimes.
Yeah.
And so IMBA, of course, I was on the board for 9 years. We also donate dollars to them. IMBA fights for mountain bikers' rights. They have a trail building arm. They have dollars being donated to actual trail builds. They're working on more trails close to home for riders. They've done a ton.
That's awesome.
Over the years. And when I reflect on my 9 years on the board, one of the most impactful things we did was went to Washington, D.C., and we met with Congress to ask for their support in reauthorizing the Land and Water Conservation Fund. And I didn't know this, but when I started doing my research, that fund actually purchased the land that I grew up mountain biking on.
Wow.
Like, had that fund not existed, we wouldn't even be having this conversation probably. Also learned that that fund purchased the land behind our building, Sycamore Canyon Park.
Wow.
So it was really meaningful and kind of full circle for me
Absolutely.
to go to Congress and say, hey, this is an important fund and we need it permanently reauthorized. And the Great American Outdoor Act was written and passed into law in August of 2020, and so now that fund is permanently reauthorized, and it's a great way for land to be turned into trails.
That's amazing.
So from there, we got involved with World Bicycle Relief, WBR. SRAM started that organization, and it's really about giving access to bicycles where it's very meaningful in parts of the world that are impacted by poverty. They don't have access to vehicles or whatnot, and WBR's been amazing at providing bicycles as a means of transportation in Africa, for example. And it's the difference between kids getting to school, for medical help, being able to get to different villages. And so it's been great to be a part of that organization. And then close to home, we participate in an organization called Kommute for Kids. It's kind of our own little thing that we started, where we I asked employees to ride and commute and earn bikes for local elementary school kids that we end up donating in an event around Christmas time. In fact, this year, after we donated some bikes to local kids at one of the local schools here in Riverside, one of the students came up to me and she was just so excited to win a bike. She was a student who immigrated from Afghanistan, and she said that she's never had a bike. She came to America. Her grandparents are still in Afghanistan, and she had a dream of and still does, but of being able to become something greater than what she would have normally been able to accomplish in Afghanistan. And she just could not believe that her hard work paid off. And she won this bike. It had such a huge impact on her. So it was really cool to see that. So anyways.
That was an awesome event. I'm grateful to have been a part of that event and seeing, like you said, those kids' faces light up at those bikes, and to just learn about bikes and talking about all the great things that those bikes were going to create accessibility for them in their lives that a lot of us take for granted. And I think it's really important here at Jenson that we continually growing the pie, as QPB had mentioned before. But I know this isn't all of the charities you've contributed to over the years and been a part of. There's been a whole list of these things. This has definitely been a part, of Jenson from the beginning, like you've said. Is there anything that you would expand on and tell others as part of being a part of this, and maybe a message that you would offer that is let's all come together and really keep this community going and keep this community growing in the sense that you have?
Yeah, I think my message to others would be to whatever it is. We work with People for Bikes, IMBA, World Bicycle Relief, and then of course our own local community charity, Kommute for Kids. Whatever it is that you can do to help grow the pie, as QBP said all those years to me ago, to do your part is your responsibility. I think we all have a responsibility to give back to the industry that's given so much to us, in so many different ways.
Yeah.
You know, for me, it's my whole life, right?
Yeah.
It's all sorts of fun and exploration that I got to do as a kid and continue to do. It's my career. Mm-hmm. It's your career.
Absolutely.
It's so much more than just riding. Mm-hmm. So do your part to help grow the pie is my message.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for being here. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of this. When I first came into the company, you know, I didn't know how much we were involved, and it just continued to expand, and it made me feel really proud to be a part of Jenson USA, not only as a customer since before I started working here to now being an employee and being a part of this, you know, bigger partnership with the entire community worldwide, all over the place, and it's been fantastic. So thank you for sitting down and having this video and making this video with me, and as we like to say here, and we keep it, and we do mean it, is keep pedaling.
Thanks, Mark. Yep, keep pedaling.